Why? Why is Superman not smiling? James Gunn has no idea what he is doing. Superman is supposed to be a beacon of hope. Why is he not smiling? All right, guys, we have to talk about this. Guys, I couldn't help it. I could not help it. There are some things I want to point out about this. All right, so James Gunn did reveal the first official look at Superman. And I've got a lot to say about this photo. And let's just get into it. I took some pictures. We're going to look at the whole thing. We're going to look at certain sections. And I want to cover everything that I see in this picture and what I do like and what I don't like. And I will tell you there's a lot more that I don't like than I do like. But let's take a look at this here. We'll talk about the good stuff first. All right, so here it is. The first full official look as, for David Corenswet as Superman. And we're going to talk about the costume. We're going to talk about the background. And we're going to talk about everything here. Because this is just a very, for an official reveal. Do you remember when they did the first official reveal for, and I hate to use this comparison, but it's what everybody's going to compare because it's the most recent thing. But when they did the first shot of Henry Cavill in the bank up against the bank after getting thrown in there and just the look on his face and the costume, that was an epic reveal. What is this? This, first of all, Zodwriter on Twitter made the comment, this looks like an AI photo, and it did. When I pulled this up, I zoomed in on it. This does not look real. This looks like an AI photo. In fact, there's this person that I follow called ETA Prime on YouTube. He does games and stuff like that, and this looks like almost like a part of an image he had created for his YouTube channel. And so this does not look real at all. The background doesn't look real. The environment doesn't look real. But let's take a good look at this costume. And, a lot of people said the first thing you want to notice is that the trunks are back. And I'm not 100% sure that they're back. He's got a belt. And it does look like there are trunks. It does. But this photo is a little ambiguous in that regard. So here's a closer look at the front of it. Now, here's what I do like. About the only thing I like in this costume is the material, what it looks like. I do like, the materials and the different angles. It almost looks like Batman's costume from Batman vs. Superman. The design is very much New 52. It is. Now, New 52 had a collar, but I do not like this collar anyway. It doesn't have the V for the Adam's apple. And this looks a little funky, and this is one of the things that makes this look AI. But this collar goes way up in the back, and they did this with the Batman, too. And I don't know what it is with the collars for these superheroes in the most current iterations of these characters, but I do not think that cape should go below the collar. I just don't. It should be above the collar. It just does. I don't think that looks good. I do like the design with the lines and everything. But guys, this rubber suit, any movement he makes, it creates creases in there. It looks terrible. That is horrible. That does not look like a well-done costume at all. I am sorry. I do not dig this in any way, shape, or form. The emblem does look better on the costume, but again, it looks like it's this big patch that keeps that nice and straight and everything else can be wrinkled. It looks like a rubber suit, something that Marvel would have done or the CW would have done. With the costume, with the current version of Superman and Lois, that was one of my complaints, is that when he moves, sometimes he gets creases like in the shoulders and other areas. I don't think Superman's costume should do that. And this has that in spades. He is not smiling. He's got his curl. And honestly, he looks older than Henry Cavill does. So I don't know what the whole deal was with getting rid of Henry Cavill. And they're doing his best to make him look very similar to Henry Cavill. Here's another shot a little bit further away. So we see him putting the boots on. I do really like the boots a lot. That is one thing I do like, and we're going to take a look at that. But again, the way it fits around his wrist, this is New 52. This does look really cool. But then, like I said, you go up the arm, you start seeing these creases as he moves. If you look at his stomach area, it's all creased down there by the belt, and it does look like there's red trunks. It certainly does. But everything about this just reeks cheap plastic, rubber. It looks like a rubber suit. Now, here are his boots. I really do like the boots. I think the boots are my favorite part of his costume. I like the look, the color. They just fit. It looks pretty awesome. Can't really tell what the fabric is on the cape. It looks almost a little bit like felt. I just don't know. We'll have to see it in action to tell what the cape is going to look like. But so far, my favorite thing about this are the boots. Now let's talk about this background real quick, and then I'm going to give you my overall thoughts. I'm going to go back to the original shot of the costume, and I'll give you my overall thoughts on this. This, to me, tells me that Brainiac is going to be involved. Those colors reek of Brainiac. So if Brainiac is not in this film, this is a wasted image in my eyes, because that color right there is synonymous with Brainiac. And so I don't see how they can't not have him in the movie now. And the movie does seem a little overbloated. And I am going to have another update later today in regards to DC. And we're going to talk about some stuff that's been floating around the last couple of days. And more people are coming out talking out against the studio and the direction they're going in. But this Brainiac, if they don't use Brainiac, why would you use this image? Like, seriously. Right, so let's look at this as a whole. Here's what I really hate. I hate the creases and I hate the collar. Like, really hate them. And those things are going to show up a lot as he moves around, whether he's sitting down or not. So I do not like the material that the suit is actually made out of. I like the look of the material, but I do not like the actual material itself when it's used in practical terms. I love the boots. The emblem looks much better on the suit. The cape, you can't tell. I don't like the fact that he's probably got red trunks again. I think the trunks need to go. I don't think you could have them. And so here's how I rate this costume out of all of the iterations. So we have Christopher Reeve, we have Brandon Routh, we have Henry Cavill, we have Tyler Hoechlin, and we have David Corenswet. My favorite costume is by far the Man of Steel costume. I think it's the nicest. Followed up by Christopher Reeve's costume. Followed by David Routh's costume. Followed by Hoechlin's. And then now Corenswet's. Corenswet's is my least favorite. I got to tell you, I think the colors are good. I like the design of the costume, but I don't like the collar, and I do not like the creases in the material. I think that's horrible. And what's going on with the image in the back? And he does not have hope in his face. All right, so there you guys have it. I am not really digging this. I'm going to have to see it with him standing up in action, in a scene. I don't think this was a good way to reveal the costume. I don't. And I'm not just saying that. I would say this. I'm looking at this, whether James Gunn is doing this or not. I don't care that it's James Gunn. I just think this is a poor reveal for this costume, for this big of a film, and this is how they do the reveal. Again, it's a missed opportunity, and I do want to point out that it was just Henry Cavill's birthday yesterday. So why you wait until the day after and do it immediately the day after? You could have waited a week. I'm glad they showed it. I think they need to show it sooner rather than later, but this raises more questions. This doesn't really alleviate any of the concerns that I had with the costume. The only thing is I like the emblem a little bit more, and I like the boots, but everything else is a major step down. It looks cheap, guys. It looks very, very cheap. All right, what are your guys' thoughts on the costume? I am eager to see this in action in an actual film. Actual footage. I think they're going to have to do something very, very soon. All right, guys, I do appreciate it. We will see you on the next video.